Hey, welcome to Not Your Typical Review. I am Oni Senshi, and joining me today, as usual, is Necromancer. We are here to review Season 1, Episode 1 of Andor by Disney Plus.
Hello,
Star Wars.
viewers. How's everybody doing? Everybody good?
I hope
And
everybody's
Mr.
fine.
Wani Sensei, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing quite well. I've had plenty of sleep.
Great. Terrific. That's because we've been watching this episode.
Yes,
Anyway,
that's a bit of foreshadowing if you missed that.
yeah, so without further ado, you'll notice that the clip is the opening of the episode in Barfo Vision. For those of you who get a little bit stomach upset from seeing things that are, not congruent with your everyday experience of ground being straight, we quickly find out that those are the lights down a long walkway.
Ah,
So this episode is, I'd have to say, it's quite a bit of visuals, but not much progression and not much content. So a lot of flashy stuff happening, a lot of things to see, and what's actually happening, aside from the visual, not a lot. Takes him a while to walk down this long walkway. What for? To go to the town. A little bit odd. Anyway, when Andor gets into town, where does he enter? But the red light district, into a brothel, apparently. He has a short drink at the bar. A couple of guys that you can see across the bar are looking at him rather aggressively and don't like the look of him from the get-go, and are well, pretty much trying to start a fight and be very hostile and not so nice to him. When the madame of the establishment shows up and has a talk with him, turns out he's looking for a girl who is, turns out later, is his sister. She may have been there, but she left about a month ago. He leaves the brothel. He gets accosted by the guards, who turn out to be security guards. They try to rob him. One of them gets killed. He has to kill the other one. He doesn't have a choice. Apparently, he winds up leaving. Where is he going? I didn't know. I assumed he was going to another planet. Presumably, if you kill somebody, you'd want to go to another planet. It's very unclear. Next day, we have a robot that comes up to him, takes a while to show up, and then we break, since he's sleeping, we break to his first view of being on another planet, speaking a language which is not translated to basic. There's Andor when he's young. They watch ship crash, apparently with his sister that he is currently looking for. They see sorry, wrong picture. They see a ship crash. Who knows what's going to happen? Next day, he talks to the little red robot. Hopefully that's not a joke on the bad robot, which seems to be copied from Red Robot from a webcomic series, Diesel Sweeties. Check it out. I don't know which one came first. Telling it to lie about where he was. Fine. He goes to a mine, talks to a miner friend of his, asks him to help him cover for last night. Then we switch to the local facility, which is Imperial run, but it's not the Imperials we're used to. It's local, the local system. The officer who's standing there with the broomstick up his butt is very popular. Not very popular, that's not the word I'm looking for. Very proper. Wants to have a full investigation of the two men who were killed the night before. His superior basically tells him, don't fuss over it. Don't make a mess out of it. We'll just say that they died. I don't need this crap coming down on me. Andor goes, we cut to Andor going to what I presumed initially was Tatooine. Everything seems to happen there. But apparently it's still the mining planet that he was on, or whatever junk planet he's on here. Local, unimportant planet. Comes to talk to this girl who's apparently a mechanic, talks to another mechanic in the yard. He's trying to sell an Imperial navigation unit, which apparently is illegal. So he needs to get it to either a buyer or a fence. That's not clear either. If it was in the episode, hooray. Since I was half asleep watching it, I really don't recall what it was. Let's see what happens next. Really nothing much. I mean, I'm looking ahead here, and 5 minutes later, nothing much happens. He talks to them and he leaves. A little bit of character development, but not much. We go back to his youth on this planet. Some argument is going on. Some preparation where they put on war paint, and that took over 2 minutes to do. We get back into the local constabulary. Our hero here wants special tracking, wants to figure out what ship was going where and when that had no ID chip or whatever it's supposed to be. He decides he's going to investigate. Back on the planet, our hero runs into someone he knows, some friend who's looking for money, with this big creature trying to stand behind him and intimidate him into paying money, which apparently he doesn't have, much like Han Solo. Okay, this isn't showing the clip that I wanted. Anyway, there we go. That's a bit better. A little bit of a comedy moment, but really not much to it. He gets out of the way, and he's either being followed or being suspected by his friend. She transmits the call for this ex-girlfriend of his, apparently, transmits the call for either the fence or the buyer to come in for his stolen Imperial Nav unit. We have a little more character development of Mr. Ramrod Strait here, who's telling his people to investigate all the leads. He really wants to find it. He's closing in on this guy who killed 2 regular security agents. Switch back to a type of spaceport, something, whatever it is. We've got a character that's helped out Andor by letting him use the ship for what is not very clear, but he tells him that's it, the deal's off, we're done, get your stuff, get the hell out of here. Switch back to the planet, and they're walking off to go and find whatever this crash ship is, apparently. In the past, flashback, Andor leaves his sister behind, who looks at him ruefully as he's leaving. He gets to go to do the adventure, and she has to stay behind. That's really it. So not a lot happening. Was it a bad episode? Not particularly. There wasn't any man-shaming that I saw in this episode, like there was in other ones. Apparently, Kathleen Kennedy hasn't gotten her tentacles of Cthulhu all over it. What else could I say? Some character development. A character that's already dead in a later movie. So why should we care much? I don't know. There's not much I could say about it. I mean, okay, it's not bad. I don't hate it. But it's not exciting. There's nothing to it that's interesting. That's really all I have to say. A whole lot of nothing. It's yeah, okay, it's fine to watch once, but why would I want to watch it a second time? I've no need of watching it again. So with a little more in depth, Oni Senshi, take it away.
Okay, well, I don't know that I'm going to go that far in depth because
how do you get in depth to something that's shallow?
What I might do is a little bit of an essay or an analysis on modern entertainment and where it's gone of late. So if we look at other television shows, they have been accused of telling us what's going on rather than showing us. They are always talking about what's going on rather than giving us a visual that will tell you the story. And we have a bit of vernacular for that. We say, they're using tell, don't show entertainment or tell, don't show cinematography, which is, it's really frowned upon. It's lazy. And I mean, the cliche is that a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you've got 24 frames a second, that's 24,000 words a second if you show us rather than tell us. Now, it seems that this show has tried to take that to heart. And they are showing us everything rather than telling us. The unfortunate bit is that they're showing us extremely boring stuff.
They're not showing
They're
much. Yeah.
they're not showing us anything of major consequence. They're leaving out the storytelling part of the story. Or perhaps it's just not a very engaging story to begin this. If you want to do show, don't tell, it has to be good. That's my first point. Now, if we go to the opening scene where it's corporate security, so it seems to be a corporation that is running this security on the whatever planet we're on. They told us at the beginning, but I forgot it as quickly as I saw the planet's name come up on the screen. And there's no real indication as to what this company does, but clearly it's quite large. It's a very large company. We know that the workers need gloves that work for this company. But they don't really tell us. There you go, Morlana one. They don't really tell us what this company does. They are clearly big enough to need their own investigation sector, right? So they must be rather large. This corporate security is part of this organization.
That's not too bad.
So he gets accosted by these uppity security guards, one that has a history of being a problem, that used to be quite high up in the ranks, but has been demoted because of his attitude. And so this is what happens. This guy tries to start a fight in the brothel. They follow him into what is akin to a dark alley, I suppose. And Andor does a rear headbutt on the first guy, and he falls and kills him. That is completely realistic. These things do happen in real life where you just knock somebody down, they hit their head, and they die. This really happens. So I will give the show kudos to that. But then he disarms the second one, and he has the weapon. Andor has the weapon trained on the other officer. And you can see the acting is very physical. There is, whoever the actor is who's playing Cassian Andor has a stone face. He looks like his face is full of Botox. He uses no facial expression at all. It's very microscopic. All of his acting is in his movement, and you can see him look at the pistol, the laser pistol, and look back at the officer, and you put two and two together. The officer is begging for his life. He's unarmed, and he says, "We'll go in together." So this is where we have to decide whether Cassian Andor is a good guy or a bad guy. And, when we're teaching martial arts to children, we say, oh, how do you know the difference between a good guy and a bad guy? And, often we get some very funny answers. A lot of them will say, oh, the bad guy wears black, or the bad guy has a beard, or the bad guy is bald. And then, it turns out that all of these are off base. They're all making a judgment based on appearance.
And they're all making a judgment based on what they've seen on movies and television.
Sure, exactly. And then we tell them what the difference between a good guy and a bad guy is, and we say, well, it's through action. The only way you can really tell the difference between a good guy and a bad guy is their actions. So Cassian was pursued. He was minding his own business at the brothel. He was pursued down the alley. He was accosted. Right? They were going to steal his money and call it a fine by
At
corrupt
gunpoint.
officers.
Yeah,
right? At gunpoint. And then he takes the gun, the laser pistol. And this is the moment where you have to decide, is Cassian a good guy or a bad guy? How do you know? You know by their actions. Doesn't matter if the action is excusable or not. Doesn't matter if Andor had no choice. He decided to kill that officer. Cassian Andor is a bad guy.
Why? Because he kills a foe who's already been defeated.
Yep. Okay, you do not, it's like if you disarm somebody who's trying to stab you, you do not give the knife back to them point first. Then you're the bad guy. Guess what? Cassian is the bad guy. So here we go. We have the Hollywood pattern where we are trying to excuse the villain for their villainy. And you listen to me very carefully. There is a reason that this is a trend in Hollywood entertainment.
That's absolutely true.
There is a reason. They have a guilty conscience.
They're trying to program you into the future to think that the villainous things they're doing are justified.
And if you don't know what we're talking about, do a little research into directors. Maybe something like directors of, oh, I don't know, some superhero movies. Hmm? Maybe have a look at what's going on with, say, the star of some superhero movies that are on hold at the moment, and try to figure out what I mean. I'm not going to say anything blatantly. I'm not going to make any accusations. This is all in my opinion. But this is what could be going on. This could be going on. When it comes to the show itself, it's slower than a VW full of elephants going uphill.
So true.
It's just not good. Was it bad? No. Was it good? No. It's mediocre. And if you want to settle for mediocrity in your entertainment, keep watching. But I've got to say, after the first episode, I'm really not engaged at all. I'm watching other shows that I think are fantastic. I'm watching Game of Thrones, the House of the Dragon. What a great show. Rings of Power, also mediocre. Not bad, not good. It's another mediocre show. She-Hulk, I'm watching that one. Every now and again, I have a laugh. And literally, it's about one laugh. It's, ha! That's it. But because I'm taking it very lightly, I'm not. And yeah, I see the man baiting and the man bashing and the sexism and all that. But
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
if a show's got
what I
man bashing
find
in it,
is,
forget it.
well,
I
what
wouldn't
they're
have
doing
watched
is they're bashing a specific type of male. They're not saying that all men are like that,
Mhm.
which is something I can get on board with, because they also do some woman bashing in it. And at
Oh.
one point, there's a wedding, and well, this is not the show we're reviewing, so I don't want to get
Okay.
off on a tangent. But the point is that if you wanna, you know, I mean, what was the old song? That's entertainment. Who sang that? You
I
remember?
couldn't tell you. No, I'm sorry. I
Yeah,
don't remember that
but
one.
I think it might have been what's his name? Gene Kelly. It's
Really?
from the Bandwagon. Fred Astaire.
Hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, there's a difference between entertainment and this.
Well,
This
I
is-
think that being mediocre like this comparatively makes it a better show compared to some of the trash that's out there, the utter trash that's out there. So
mediocrity.
it's
You're-
not something to be proud of when your mediocre show, seems better because the competition is so trash. You should eclipse it entirely.
yeah.
Much like when she says the Rings of Power have done, or the House of the Dragon, apparently. House of
Yeah.
Dragon, much better than Rings of Power, from what I hear.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
It's
Rings of
just,
Power does not sound like a show I want to see. So
yeah.
it's Andor for now. We'll see how Andor turns out. Hopefully, it will turn out much better.
Well, apparently there's a bait and switch coming. We'll find out.
Yeah, if there is a bait and switch, then guess what? I'm not going to give it a pass. So,
Well, it doesn't have a pass yet.
yeah.
Going back to the subject, sorry if you don't mind. Going back
Sure.
to the subject of the when they're on the native planet, when we're looking at Cassian Andor's youth, and he's there with his sister. I was really, I mean, I don't know if I want to say frustrated is the right word. Maybe you can help me come up with the right word. Why wouldn't they put subtitles in there so we can understand what's going on?
Do they want to bore the hell out of us and put us to
with
sleep? Because that's what they achieved.
that's exactly what they achieved. I don't know what they're trying to do with this. Maybe it's the, going on with JJ's comment, no more white comfort. What's white comfort? Being able to speak my own language. I grew up in a city where half the people didn't want to speak the language that I spoke, and I left.
Too true.
And I'm going to do the same thing to your show. I'm going to leave. I'm not going to watch it. You're not going to get my money. All right.
Anyway,
make it.
Subtitles can be put into whatever language the show is being watched in.
That's it.
If that happens to be Spanish because it's being watched in a Spanish country, then put it in Spanish. If it's being shown in France, then the subtitles will be in French. What is this ludicrousness of no more white privilege? Really? Well, you're going to find out that the white pocketbooks that are funding your bloody shows are close to you. JJ jerk.
I think I think it's a way to try to get on the side of the mob. That's all it is. Yeah, it's white people doing this. Trying to get on the side of the mob. Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So hopefully, I mean, what more is there to say about this episode? Not much, really. There's not much to say. So we'll be looking at episode 2, reviewing episode 2 in a couple of days. Come back from more of the same, not much to say, and hopefully we can spice it up a bit by comparing it to other shows that are much better. Cassian not showing much in his face, the actor not showing much in his face. Well, you know what? You might want to go back and look at how Clint Eastwood acted. Go see The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. See how he acted with just a squint of his eyes. He could show you when danger was coming, when he detested someone, when there was an arresting moment. Just a squint of his eyes. That's all it took for him.
You know
Little
who
bit
else
of
could do
tightening his
that?
lips, probably.
Harrison Ford had that as well.
Yep.
Yep, he had it all
So-
around the eyes. Very little, every now and again, a smirk. But he also had that.
You get a
And there,
little
there's
bit of a response,
nothing
man.
from this actor. Nothing.
So give that a try. It's too late now. The series has been filmed, but here's a little bit of advice for you. So with that, I think we shall sign off for this episode, and we will see you for the part 2 of the Andor series.
See you then.
Take care.
Bye.